Alright, so as we all know by now, and if you don't know by now, then I'm going to tell you, there's going to be no new farming simulator game coming out this year. Now, normally, there would be. Farming Simulator has, for a long time, followed the formula of a new game every 2 years. But that's changing. Because at the end of this year, around November, should be the time that we get a new Farming Simulator game. But they've decided to hold off. Now, a few people see this as a bad thing for some reason. I don't know why. But me personally, I feel that this is the best thing that they could do. And I'm going to tell you why. Between FS17 and FS19, they didn't give us a whole hell of a lot more, in my opinion. Definitely not enough more to warrant another game. I would prefer developers to hold off on releasing games to make sure they can give us the best game and give us new features, more than just a couple, that is. But, you know, new features, just the best game that they can deliver. And I feel that every 2 years, they really can't accomplish that. There's not a lot they can do in 2 years. Not enough, anyways. So, with the news that they're not going to be releasing a new game this year, and we don't know when they're going to be releasing one. Let me just say that. They haven't come out and said, they didn't say that it'll be delayed till the following year. They just said no new game this year. There may very well be a new game next year. We don't know. We don't know if it's still going to be called FS21. We don't know if they're going to completely change the name. There's very little news except the fact that they're not going to be making a game. So, I wanted to make a video about that, and this story broke yesterday, which was Wednesday the 22nd. But I needed to kind of gather my thoughts about what I wanted to say and stuff. So again, I think it's a great idea. And in this video, I'm just going to share some things that the developers have already said. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I do not have the time to go way back into the forums for Farming Simulator and get all these facts for you. These are things that they are in the forums. You're more than welcome to go in the forums and do searches and look it up to see that I'm not lying. But again, guys, I'm sorry. I don't have the time to get that extensive with fact checking. So you can either look it up yourself, take my word for it, or just assume that I'm a complete liar that's trying to get clickbait or whatever. That's all fine. So, the first couple things that we're going to go over in this video are things that are factual, that you can look up, that Giants has said that they're working on, and that I feel that they are going to put in place in the next game. And then towards the end of the video are just kind of some miscellaneous things that I want to see in the game. So, without further ado, let's get on with it, shall we? Okay, so let's talk about seasons. One of the people who's involved with Seasons, who worked with Realismus Modding, took a job with Giants in, I believe, 2018. Now, the only reason why Seasons wasn't implemented in FS19 is because they said that when that person came to work for Giants, they were already far enough in development where it would have set the release date of FS17 back several months. Now, honestly, I wouldn't have cared at the time. But seeing the final product of FS19, I'm kind of glad they didn't do it, because I feel like maybe it would have been done to the best of their abilities. Now, with that being said, I don't see any reason why Seasons won't be in the base game of FS21 or whatever they decide to call it. And look at that. That's tracking strange. That's odd. But yeah, I don't really see why there would be any reason that they wouldn't put seasons in the base game of whatever they call the next farming simulator game. And just think is that if they put seasons into the base game, I would like to see snow on buildings more. I would like to see snow build up on the trees. I would love to see snow build up on your tractors and your implements in the yard. Hell, I wouldn't even mind if you had to sweep the snow off. You know, another thing is in the cold, I would like to see it where maybe you have to let your tractors run to warm up a little bit. I think that would be a great thing to see. And also, just maybe, if they implement seasons into the base game, and this is such a small thing, but it's just, this is just how nitpicky I can be sometimes, but, you know, I would love to see it affect the people in the game, the actual, like, AI pedestrians. Because as of right now, like, right in the middle of winter where it's a snowstorm, people are still walking around outside with short-sleeve shirts on and stuff like that. So I would really love it if they integrated into the game seasons and they made it so in the different seasons the people would actually reflect the season. You know, like in the wintertime they'd be wearing coats and things like that. And again, there's just so many things that we could talk about with seasons. That realismist modding, they've really upped the game with seasons on FS19, and I can just imagine what they could do if it was implemented into the base game. You know, I'm talking like more in depth with the animals, you know, baby animals, which Oxygen David is actually going to be putting baby calves into his new Sandy Bay map. And these calves, they're not going to be static, they're not going to be decoration, they're actually going to be animated animals that you can take care of, you can feed, you can give water, you can give milk to, and they will grow and you can sell. You can buy and sell baby calves. That is huge. That's just huge. So, seasons. I definitely think that seasons will be coming to the next version of Farming Simulator. Okay, another one that Giants have confirmed. Not that they're confirmed that it was going to be in the game, but they did confirm that they were working on dynamic ground, real dirt, real mud, whatever you want to call it. That they are working on it. And they said this way back in 2018 that they were working on that, but they didn't want to release anything because something like that has to be done right. And I 100% agree with that. I really do. I don't think releasing something like dynamic mud or dirt, whatever you want to say, is something that they should rush out if it's not going to be done perfect. Now, I must say, in the past, I have kind of been not against it, but I have said in the past that I didn't feel that the game right now in its state, the graphics can really handle something like that. But I'm man enough to admit when I'm wrong. And I have seen, on the PC side at least, I have seen some map mods that they have mud on them in kind of like a soft ground texture. And if I'll be a son of a bitch, it looks pretty good. You know, and I do think it would be fun in the game. But the way I see it is that way back in 2018, before they even released FS19, Giants did say they were working on this in the forums. So, now you're talking a good 3, maybe 4 years will have passed before we see the next farming sim game. So I think that there is a really good chance that we might see some form of this in the next game. Now, I'm confident, I'm about 99.9% confident that we will see seasons come to the base game in the next game. With this, I'm going to say I'm maybe 65 to 75% sure we may see some form of dynamic ground in the next game, because, you know, I don't know how long it's going to take them to figure it out, but it seems like 3 or 4 years is a pretty good amount of time. So I'm going to be really optimistic and say that I truly believe we're going to see something like this in the next version of Farming Simulator. The next thing I'm going to talk about is manual gearboxes. Now, manual gearboxes was something that was supposed to be rumored to be confirmed for FS19. And then I guess at the last minute they decided they couldn't do it, or they didn't do it. Now, this I'm not sure about. Now, I do know that, again, they're working on manual gearboxes. I do know that it was said that it was supposed to be in the game. For whatever reason, it didn't make it to FS19. But again, I feel that this is another one of those things that I'm 99.9% sure that manual gearboxes are something that we are going to see in the next version of Farming Simulator. It only makes sense. I mean, the way it is right now, you don't even hear the tractor shift. It's just like, you know, it's just like driving a remote control car at this point. There have been mods that they've put shifting sounds in, and I think they sound great. You know, and if Giants couldn't figure out a way to put a manual gearbox in there, I do believe that they could have at least figured out how to put the sound of shifting gears into the game, where it doesn't sound like you're just winding out the engine and it never shifts. So again, manual gearboxes, I feel, are pretty much a 99.9% chance of those being in the next version of Farming Simulator. Now, another thing that I'm going to assume, that I have to assume, is that with the next version of Farming Simulator, I'm going to go ahead and say that they're probably going to either have a completely new graphics engine, or I don't know what they could do with the one that they have. I really feel that the one they're running right now for FS19, they have it pushed to the limit. I really feel that they have it pushed to the limit, and I don't think they can squeeze any more out of this. The one thing I will say is that I really hope they do something with the skies, because the skies look so much better on FS17 than they do on this one. I'll take, like, the static clouds to these clouds any day. The skies on FS17 look so much better than they do on this one. They were really excited about the clouds, volumetric clouds, and the clouds will be moving and you can see when rain comes in. But as you can see, the clouds, I mean, they just, I don't know. They're just always like these gray blobs floating in the sky. And I just, there's other games that do clouds so much better. And I think it was a huge, huge disappointment for me in this game. Now, I will say, it's not all negative. I think they did a hell of a job with the actual models of the tractors and all the implements. I think that looks great. The lighting, it's an improvement, yes and no. Sometimes the lighting is a bit much, but I do think it's an improvement over 17 because 17 always looks so dark. It could be in the middle of the day, and FS17 still looked kind of dark. You never got that real sense of lighting. And in this one, I do feel that they did it better. Maybe they overdid it a little bit, but I definitely think it's a step up. But overall, guys, I mean, it's now 2020, and the render distance of this game is just horrible. I mean, you can see it. You can see it in the distance right there, and it's just... Honestly, my opinion, this game would be a beautiful game if this came out for the PS3 in the beginning of the PS3's life. You know, you gotta remember, at the end of PS3, we had GTA 5 come out, and that game looked amazing on PS3. So yeah, I think the graphics need to be upgraded, especially with the new consoles coming out. You know, we're getting ray tracing the consoles. That's a huge thing. You know, we need to see things like when it rains. We need to see puddles in the road. We need to see puddles in the fields. You know, we need to see that. I want to see water on the implements, on the tractors, on the other equipment. You know, that's all things I really want to see. And again, I'm going to say that I really think that there's a good chance that the next farming simulator that they make, whatever they call it, I got a feeling we're going to see a huge upgrade in graphics on the next game. Alright, so the last thing I want to touch on is a couple things that I would personally like to see in the game. You know, let me just say, like, the first three things we talked about, seasons, dynamic ground, and manual gearboxes, I'm pretty confident that we're going to see those in the next game. The new graphics engine, that's kind of my speculation, although I do feel that we're going to get a huge upgrade in graphics, considering that they're waiting for the next gen systems. They want to see what they're capable of. So I think that's a huge clue right there that they're planning on doing something more with the graphics, and they probably want to see what the slot count and stuff like that is going to be like. So this last thing, first of all, we're going to talk about physics. I really would like to see the physics of driving in this game improved, because it still feels very much like you're driving a remote control car. It just doesn't seem to have the physics. I mean, it's so static. Like, when you do this, you should see the tractor, or even the car, truck, doesn't matter. You know, you should kind of see the suspension on it moving up and down. I would love to see that in the game. And I'm playing with controller right now, and just to kind of make a point, like if I just turn, you know, bam, it just turns. There's no, you know, at full speed, you can just turn, and there's hardly no suspension at all in the vehicle. Now, they did put suspension on the seat, but what about the actual tractor? You know, I would love to see better suspension on these, so it doesn't make it feel like you're driving an RC vehicle. Now, another thing that I would personally want to see, and this doesn't affect everybody obviously, but I would like to see better wheel support on console, because honestly I have no idea what the wheel support is like on PC, but on console there's absolutely there's no settings at all for the wheel. You can't access any settings for the wheel on console. So, like, for instance, on most racing games, which I know this isn't a racing game, but even on Bus Simulator, you can adjust the dead zones of the pedals, you can adjust the dead zones of the steering wheel. this helps big time. You know, this makes sure there's not a lot of play in the steering wheel when you do your turning the steering wheel like that. Like if I had to turn the steering wheel like a half a turn before I get the tractor to turn, that's something you need to adjust. And another thing that console doesn't have, that I don't know if PC has, but there's no force feedback. There's no force feedback at all in the wheels on console. And honestly, this game really is like 90% more fun to play with the wheel, even as it is. But I would love them to support wheels more on console, and you know, when we plug it in, give us settings so that we can adjust the dead zones, and let us have force feedback. And also, for the love of God, why can't we have the vibrations in the controller? I mean, force feedback in controllers is such old technology now, but yet this game still does not utilize it. I can't for the life of me figure that out. But to conclude, I'm pretty excited about them holding off on the game. Again, I hope they do it for the right reasons. I hope they can figure out a way to make the game better for all consoles, because again, I don't see every FS player running out and buying a PS5 or an Xbox Series X just to play Farming Simulator. You know, I mean, it may keep a lot of people in FS19, which I didn't even touch on the subject that there's going to be 3 more DLCs for FS19, an expansion, which I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if that's going to be like another Platinum expansion or exactly what they mean by that. But we have at least another year in mods, and that's pretty exciting for this game, considering what the modders are starting to do in the game as it is. So they have another year. Oxygen David has another year. Whoops, I'm driving on the wrong side of the road. To put out maps that'll blow us away. And I mean, he's already got baby animals on Sandy Bay and a flyable plane. You know, what else is he going to be able to come up with now? I don't know. But like I say, I don't think it's bad news. I think it's good news no matter what. And I'd appreciate it if you left in the comments what you all think about it. And I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you next time, guys.